second Open Science Cafe. That as soon as you have read the information on the web, you know that is a way of training the faculty and the researchers in the University Carlos III of Madrid, because we really believe that it's very important to just clarify all these misconceptions that they are around open science, open access, etc. So we have chosen different speakers for the Open Science Cafés, all after the 6 sessions. You will have a big perspective of different important issues related to open science. The first Open Science Cafe was by Kostas Glinos, which is the head of the unit of Open Science European Commission. And today I have the real pleasure to introduce you to Iryna Kuchma, that she's the Open Access Program Manager of EIFL, but also she's, can you hear me?
Your sound was a bit breaking for me.
Yeah, I think I'm just losing the video. Perhaps I can just close the video because it would be better, the connection. So now that we have our protagonism today. Let me introduce you, Iryna Kuchma, because I think it's a real pleasure to have her today. She has a huge experience as a program manager of the EIFL, which is an institution that tried to have electronic information for everybody in the world. That's why in the beginning, before we start the session, we were talking about inclusiveness and about equity and things like that. But also she is the coordinator of the OpenAire, Open Science Training and Community of Practice for support in the OpenAire infrastructure. For those that you don't know it, because Iryna and I will work together in many contexts in open science, but I will ask her to take it easy because we have different kind of people in this audience, and probably many of them have heard about OpenAire. Just kind of a quick overview. How many of you have heard about OpenAire? Just a couple of yes, no in the chat. Well, no, yes. Okay, so this is giving you a little overview that you have to slow down, probably, okay? Well, OpenAire, I will not tell you what is OpenAire because Iryna will tell you very much better than me. But OpenAire is the infrastructure that in Europe that we have to aggregate services and open access content to make the open science happen at European level. So I was also at the beginning talking to Iryna. That is fantastic to have her, because last week it was approved the first draft of the Unesco recommendations for open science. And that means that open science is not only a thing that happened in Europe, that is a capricious approach for the European Commission to ask us for the more requirements and more requirements in our proposals. It's something that happened worldwide and is the way to make science. So I congratulate her for the work in UNESCO. And I think that at the end of this year, in November, probably 193 representative countries in UNESCO will embrace this new way to do science, and probably is the moment to go forward. Thank you very much, Iryna. Welcome to University Carlos III, even if it is only through a screen. And the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eva. And it's a great pleasure for me to share coffee with you. As you saw, I already drank my coffee. Hope you're also having your coffee. Let me share my slides. And I put some links to OpenAire resources.
Good. I will try to do that.
So I think you can see my slides now in full screen mode. And I would like to spend some time talking to you about practice in open science. And I'll be talking from the European perspective. And OpenAire is a pan-European project that builds an open science infrastructure in Europe, and it's also one of the open science arms in the European Open Science Cloud. And what we would like to do, we would like to breach the walls where science is performed, science is conducted, science is done, and science is published. And I put in the chat a link to OpenAire website, but I would like to start with this Explore portal. And it's a space where you could browse 126 million publications from journals, from obviously open access journals or subscription-based publications, which are also available in open access repositories. We also have data sets and other research products. And the strength of OpenAire is that we collaborate with almost 80,000 scholarly content providers in Europe and in worldwide. And that's one of the reasons why we have so many publications available, also research data, software, and other research outputs. So if you're looking for publications, data sets, softwares on certain topics, then explore.openaire.eu is one of the places for you to go. And when you click search, when you are on this portal, like even if you click an empty search, that's what I did, you can see results filtered out for open access only. So now we have almost 60 million open access research outputs. And you can also refine your search results. For example, if you're only interested in open access publications published this year, or in the last 5 years, or last 10 years, or from certain year to certain year, so you refine that year range. We also collaborate with funders. So now we have 23 funders who are our partners. And if you're interested in specific data from, for example, all research outputs that were funded by the European Commission, then you select the European Commission as a funder, and that would limit your search results. We also have 40 types of research outputs, obviously journal articles. Then we have other research literature types, conference materials, data sets, preprints, images, annotations, audiovisual material, theses. We have bachelor, masters, we have books, we have clinical trials. And if you are interested only in clinical trials, for example, only in bachelor theses, then you can also refine by that. And what I wanted to flag in the middle of the screen, the second publication, it says add to ORCID. And OpenAire is integrated with the ORCID portal. And if it's my publication and if I don't have it yet in my ORCID record, then I can click add ORCID and it will be added to my ORCID profile. So that's a new functionality that we recently released, and I'm very happy about that. You can also refine by language. So here I filtered out for Spanish Castilian language, and then it's 1.5 million open access outputs in those languages. Or you might be interested only in content from Spain. And then now on the slide, I filtered out open access publications from Spain only. And that's over 70,000 publications. So it's really easy to use, and I think it's a good tool to start searching. And you can search research outcomes, or you can search for projects, content providers, or organizations. And this search result example that I showed, that it opens up with open access by default, different research types, and you can do keyword search. So for example, this was search for science. If you want to use exact terms, for example, open science, you need to put that in quotation marks. You can also search using some of the persistent identifiers, DOIs, ORCIDs, and other discipline-specific persistent identifiers. You can also sort by numbers or names. So for example, looking for funders, it starts with the funders where we have largest amount of publications, but if you want an alphabetical order, then you sort by name. And in advanced search, you can use different fields depending on your requirements. So for example, the fields are title, author, author ORCID, description, subject, publisher, access mode, community. If you are looking for specific content from your university, for example, then collect it from your university repository. Or if you can search by publication date or funder or language or organization or project or specific type or persistent identifier. So you can do all of that in advanced search. When you get search results, so that's an article, it's a conference paper actually that my colleague presented. His name is Paolo Manghi, and if I click on his name, I can see his ORCID, and if I click on his name, I'll see his other publications, and I'll also get to his ORCID records. You can also sort by relevance. Research results as OpenAire thinks would be the most relevant, or you can sort by most recent or least recent, depending on your preferences. And all your search results could be downloaded. So for example, if you want to download first 2,000 results, then you can do that. That's how an item looks like on OpenAire search portal. So you can see title, you can see that it's open access in English, you can see summary, and this article is available openly from a publisher. It was published in Nature Communications, but it's also available in Europe PubMed Central, and you can choose where you want to download a full text from, either from Nature Communications or Europe PubMed Central. And if you click on references, then you'll see the references this article is citing, and then you can click on them and also go to them. You can also see supplementary outcomes, if any, and related search results. So what we do, we present items, research items in a context. And we're doing that because
let me interrupt
sure.
you, Iryna, before you talked about the research graph, which is very interesting thing from a technical point of view. But people here are more interested on how it works and what is the coverage of OpenAire. For example, we have a couple of questions about if it is only a harvester, or you can also upload your own publications in OpenAire, that I would like you to go further on this. And also we have the what are the sources, what is the coverage of the resources that OpenAire aggregates or harvests. I was mentioning the open access resources in Europe, like repositories or open access journals and open access harvesters and services providers, but probably you can give a bit more information, what is in there, what they can find there, and in the case that they are just standalone researchers and they want to upload their own work, how can they do?
Thanks a lot for your questions. So as you can see on this slide, what we have is a collection of properties. So these are metadata and links. We don't have full text, and that's our deliberate strategy, that full text sit where they are. Full text are in the content providers, but we only collect information about publications, research data, software, other research products, projects, organizations, funders, and we link all this information, all this metadata together, and we enable access to that via linking to places like I showed this article. So what you see on the screen is what we know about this article, what we have. But if you want to access full text, you have to click download from Europe PubMed Central or Nature Communications. So we're not hosting anything. I'll talk a little bit later about Zenoda, which is one of OpenAire services together with CERN. And that's a place where people could upload full text and make them available. OpenAire is not a place where you can upload full texts, but what you can do, you can link your data sets to publications. So for example, now I'm showing an article, but we also have data sets. So for example, if it's a data set, and if I want to link it to my article where I used this data set, then I can click this link this publication to, and then I can add, I mean, in that case, it would be link this data set to, and I can link it to my article. So this additional linkages is something that could be done by a person in case we didn't figure out that this data set is related to this article. A researcher could go and suggest such a linking for her papers. And our data sources are repositories for publications and for data. Also research information systems, harvesters, aggregators. We also collaborate with publishers. So we have publishers' content. Of course, we have content from directory of open access journals. And we have 79,000 content sources. So I hope that answers your question. And this collection of metadata and links is openly available to everyone. Everyone can download and use it. It's openly licensed under Creative Commons Attribution License, and part of this information is even not copyrighted at all. It's CC0 license, and we collect from different sources. So we're not hosting full text because we don't want to be a single place where everything sits. That's our deliberate strategy. Decentralized approach. Collaborate with every content provider that has academic content. And what we do, we identify links, deduplicate, organize this information, and then make it available either via this OpenAire Explore portal or as data sets and information that could be downloaded using APIs or as spreadsheets. And we collaborate with the initiative Open Citations for adding citation information, and we also do some analytics on open science, because we provide this as a service to funders to see what impact their publications make. And all of that is open and available to everyone. So it's a really collaborative effort. We collaborate with open access, open science community in Europe and worldwide, and we give back to the community. And these are some of the large data sources that we're collecting: discipline-specific repositories, institutional repositories, publishers, databases of project funding, research infrastructures. Of course, we use Microsoft Academic Graph. We get also information from ORCID. We use Unpaywall to identify open access status, collaborate with Open Citations for citations. We get software from GitHub and software heritage, information about software. And based on that, we provide different gateways. So for researchers, we have what I showed you, OpenAire Explore. For funders, we have OpenAire Monitor. We also have Develop portal, which is for companies and anyone else who would like to take our data and use it to produce their own analytics. And we have also services for research communities, and we call them Connect. And this is one of the examples of our collaboration with Open Knowledge Maps. They provide visualized search interfaces. And what they did, they built the Visual Project Explorer, and they took our data. For example, on this page, you can search for projects funded by the European Commission. And the project I was searching for was called Strong HEP. And it's a project about gravity and high energy physics. And Open Knowledge Maps visualized all the publications that we have in this subject bubbles. So, for example, they grouped them according to like stars, dark matters, etc., etc. And then when you click on one of the bubbles, so for example, if you're only interested in publications about boson star, then when you click on this circle, you'll see all the publications related to that topic that resulted from that specific project. And it's another way to explore content, this visual search. And our data was openly available. Open Knowledge Map took it and built another openly available visualized search tool. And it's just one example, and we have other examples as well. And of course, commercial service providers also take our data, like Scopus and Web of Science, and embed them in their search interfaces. We also collaborate with research communities to build discipline-specific research gates. And I'm sorry, I should have asked what's your area of research, because then it would be easier for me. But I just picked a couple. We have a number of discipline-specific gateways. What I chose for this presentation is about energy research, and here we collaborate with a project which is called Maps, and they do research in this area, like energy management, green deals, nuclear energy, wind energy, etc. And they wanted a space where researchers could easily access publications, research data software, and other research. And here is this discipline-specific community, and researchers could access and browse and play with different research outputs, refining their searches to specific subjects. Transport research is another example where we collaborate with project Be Open, which is about opening up research related to transport. And I know that it's a bit small for you to see, but these are all subjects that are covered in the specific research community. And I think what I picked, electric vehicles. And if I'm doing research in electric vehicles, and if I'm interested in the latest research which is available in open access, then when I clicked on the electric vehicles from the subjects, I got almost 1,000 different research results. And then I can sort them by relevance. I can do more specific search within that subject. So I think it's really a useful tool for researchers doing research in specific areas. You asked about uploading full texts, and for that we launched Zenodo some time ago together with CERN, Center for High Energy Physics, and we did that because European Commission, which is the largest research fund in Europe, introduced a requirement to their grantees to deposit publications in open access repositories 6 months after publications, well, deposit immediately, but make them available, openly available 6 months after publications for sciences, and a year after social science and humanities. And that was some time ago. And at that time, not every university had an institutional repository. And also there were some of course, there were some discipline-specific repositories, but not every discipline had a discipline-specific repository. So that's when we set up Zenodo, which was a space, a repository for people without discipline or specific repositories or institutional repositories to deposit their publications, but also data sets and other research outputs. And it's an open shared repository for everyone to use, and it's been used very, very well. And research communities and organizations are also building their specific communities. So, for example, here at the top you can see our COVID-19 research community, and I'm one of the curators, and that's a place where we gather all COVID-19 related research deposited in Zenodo to make it easier for researchers to find. So that Zenodo is a place where people could deposit content if they don't have their institutional repositories or subject repositories, and OpenAire is a search interface. Zenodo is also integrated with GitHub and with computational tools to work with data. So Binder is one of them, or R is another tool integrated with Zenodo. And it's a place where researchers could make data available, and also because it's linked with data analysis tools, they could also easily work with data, analyze data. And it's also wonderful to see that data being deposited by one researcher is really being used and reused by another researcher, because that's the whole idea behind open science, sharing and reusing to save time and efforts. Also, we have a tool for writing data management plans, and many funders require data management plans. European Commission, for example, requires data management plans. Universities are also requiring data management plans, and I don't know how it is in your university and which tool you use, but Argos is one of free tools to write data management plans. And we call them machine actionable data management plans because they could also be easily deposited in Zenodo from Argos, and they are machine readable. Another tool that we have is for anonymizing data, because in some cases when you would like to share data, but it includes personal information, you would like to remove it, and Amnesia is one of such tools, and Argos is free, Zenodo is free, Amnesia is free. That's all the tools that we're building. And I was told that it's the only tool that offers anonymization for set value data and supports KM anonymity. And it's a tool that you can download on your computer and work locally, and there is no data transfer risk. Of course, if you need to anonymize data sets. And these are some of the use cases of Amnesia. So, for example, we collaborated with some COVID-19 researchers to anonymize their data. Then it's included in training courses in data privacy, for example, in a course Masters on Business Analytics. And we also collaborated with Health Project to build an ecosystem where data are shared, but protecting personal information. And I'm really passionate about these stories of data reuse, because let's be fair and open that it does take time to prepare data for reuse, because you really need to make an effort to describe data properly, to make it clear to other researchers how to reuse data in case specific instructions are needed, and usually specific instructions are needed. So you have to prepare a README file. And sometimes you hear from researchers that it's a lot of effort, but no one really will reuse them. And to counterbalance that argument, we started collecting different examples of data reuse from health sciences, institutional examples from UK, from Turkey, an example from Zenodo, where we could see how many data sets are reused using this Jupyter notebook. But one of my favorite examples, I don't know, maybe because I'm a social scientist and that's like the easiest example for me to understand, is from Italy. And there was a fish base, which was a database of fish species living in the seas, and it was available as raw data. A research group shared it with other researchers, but this data wasn't processed. And then another team took this data, processed, analyzed, produced reports on fishing stocks, and that report was discussed at the European Parliament, enriched with bibliographic citations. And then a third group of researchers took it and produced what they called aqua maps. And aqua maps were basically maps to study climate changes. And I think that that's an excellent example where data collected for one purposes, like study fish, I don't know, movements, population, was reused to study climate changes. And to me, that's an excellent example. Another example is also from marine floats. And it was also available in an institutional repository as raw data, not processed data. And then another research group took an effort to standardize the data and produce data sets which could be easily reused. And then it was made available and reused by other researchers. And they wrote an article how they enhanced this raw data for reusability. Also in OpenAire, we support practicing open access research data management, open science, and we develop different guides. For example, how to make data findable, accessible, interoperable, reusable, how to find a trustworthy repository for data, how to write a data management plan, how to deal with sensitive data, legal issues. Our legal guides are really popular. And we have some basic guides and also some more advanced advice for researchers, but also for policymakers. We have open science policy templates. And if you feel like you need some guidance and it's still missing in our list, please let us know, because we're happy to create more guides. And I would like to end my talk with this story about collaborating with schools, because I believe that the earlier we start training students on open science, the better. And we collaborated with networks of schools to collect seismic data in the countries where earthquakes happen, and also analyze the data and publish results in a journal which we called Open Schools Journal for Open Science. And this seismograph example is really a good one, because those schools, they took like this cheaply made do-it-yourself seismograph. They collected seismic data. They store data in a research infrastructure for seismic data in Greece, Helix. Then they analyzed data using Python scripts and some other algorithms, and they tried to build an early warning system for the areas, and then published their works in this open access school journal, and also publications from this journal they openly available on the journal website, but they also available in the Zenodo repository. And this is my favorite example. So they were school kids from Greece who took data from Kepler Space Telescope mission, and they use C language to analyze the data, and then they managed to discover an exoplanet, and they described that exoplanet for the first time. And I think it's really cool when you are in. I'm not even sure whether they were in high school. Maybe they were. Some of them were even still in secondary school, and they already have a new discovery using open data, and their discovery is openly available. Unfortunately, in Greek, because they were from Greece. But I think that's really cool, and that's how I would like to end up my talk, because I believe there are a lot of opportunities provided with open science, and it's really up to us to decide what's useful, what's important for us, and start practicing it. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Iryna. Thank you very much. I think it was fantastic. I don't know if you can see the different questions and different debates that we have having in parallel with when you were talking. There are a couple of questions that they do really ask, primarily the doctoral students that they are following the debate today, because they were just kind of, I know that for you it's very clear how OpenAire works, and also is for me. I think it's an amazing tool for many uses, but probably some of the people that they are listening to you today, they don't have such a broader perspective. And also what I said to you, that we organize these open science cafes just to avoid misconceptions. And sometimes, you know, people think that, for example, it was a student asking if you publish the same paper into open access repositories or into different, what happen if the same paper is in OpenAire and in Zenodo or in the repository of the university. And I was trying to explain that it's not plagiarism, it's about the IPR. Sometimes you give your copyright to the publisher. That's why you cannot publish openly available. But this is a lot of misconceptions that perhaps we can clarify a bit. I don't know who was the person that asked this, that probably you can pose the question better than me. You just raise your hands and you can get the microphone. Julia, that was the one. Julia Garcia, go ahead.
Yes, I'm gonna ask the question because I think it's a bit confusing, because I am a bit confused. My question was because I had experience when I wanted to publish an article in a journal, and then I wanted to present this article. I didn't want to publish the article, but I wanted to present in a congress, but the abstract of the article had to be published. And therefore they told me that there might be an issue of plagiarism, because my article was published in another journal, and then the abstract was going to be published in a different journal, but the abstract was the same. I don't know if you kind of get what I mean. And they actually told me there might be an issue of plagiarism, even though I was the author of both articles. And that's why I was wondering if with OpenAire that was possible. Imagine that I have published the article in a closed access journal, and then I want to publish the same article, or or the abstract or something that is the same in both articles. I want to publish this in OpenAire. There might be an issue of plagiarism, or maybe copyright. I am not sure about these concepts. That was my question.
Thanks a lot for your question. So let's try to unpack it. You don't need to publish in OpenAire, because OpenAire is not a publishing platform. So that's for sure. You publish where you want to publish, for example, in a journal. And maybe what a journal was telling you is that it's not an original publication, because you already presented it at a conference. But I'm sure your conference abstract was different from a journal article abstract, because usually at a conference you have limited time and you focus on specific aspect of your research, and then journal article is more comprehensive. So maybe it's a good advice, try to avoid having same abstracts for different types of publications. But I don't see any problem with material being available before in some form for feedback, for early feedback, and then being published. And we already see that, like especially now with COVID-19 research, most research articles first were made available as preprints. Non-peer-reviewed articles are available for comments by everyone, early feedback, improvements, and then they were published in respected journals in their field. And most journals don't have problems with journal articles first being made available as preprints and then published in a journal. But of course, maybe there is still a small minority which would say that they wouldn't accept a publication if content was made available before in some form. So I think it's good to check with a publisher. So for example, if you already know where you want to publish your research, to check what kind of policies they have. Do they allow making preprints available? If you want to share preprints, do they allow posting articles in open access repositories? Because that's what many funders started requiring this year, that they're saying that if you receive funding from them, and if you publish not in an open access journal, in subscription-based journal, they want you to deposit a version which was approved for publication post-print, including all feedback from peer reviewers, an article which in the version which is published, but not a published PDF, your version approved for publication in an open access repository, because funders also believe that easy, early open access to research results help to improve research and science. Maybe the only plagiarism-related issue I see is that if you use plagiarism detection tools, maybe when this article is checked for plagiarism, maybe it would be marked as plagiarized because there is another article that you publish that covers the same content, but you can always refine those plagiarism detection tools. So you can say, like you can remove that source, which is your article from your plagiarism detection software results.
Very good, very interesting. Also, we have other questions and we have a hand raised. With that, can you go ahead?
And I saw a comment with that.
Yeah.
I saw a comment about searching for financial trading, and I did a quick search and I found one research data for financial trading. Let me put it in a chat. And there is also a question from Alberto about data set for X-ray welding images, and it's true. We don't have. I also got 0 for data sets for X-ray welding images, so I guess we don't have data.
We have two other hands raised. I don't know if we can get them on the microphone. Was Christos, that is a colleague from UCY, that is University of Cyprus. That is.
Hi, good afternoon. That's correct.
Good.
Go ahead. Hi. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you, Iryna, for the presentation. So I had a question with regards to one of the slides that you presented, where you mentioned Binder together with Zenodo. And you mentioned also tools like Jupyter for Python and R. And I was wondering if this is somehow related to reproducible research, meaning that a researcher can, let's say, run the Python code on, the accompanying data set that comes together with the publication that is open access, available as open access on Zenodo, in order to reproduce the results.
I think so, because what I know, I could only see from that link, and I'll put a link in the chat, so I can see what kind of analysis are run, and I see, for example, Guesses, and Guesses is a social science research group in Germany, and they run analysis on data sets available on Zenodo, but I don't know whether they run analysis on their own data sets or someone else data sets, but I guess that's yeah, that's like you said, related to reproducibility, and making it really easier to analyze data.
Okay, thank you.
Very interesting question, a very interesting topic about reproducibility too. There is another question from Admit. I don't know if you want to pose it yourself in the microphone. If you raise your hand, well, it's about, is OpenAire used only for the EU projects? And also a question about the most open access journals must pay to publish my work. Well, this is interesting, typical discussion that is at the end, every single question, every single debate about open access, open science, we end up talking about, should I pay for publishing? What is the point of, I mean, because it's the main issue of the career development of the students. That's why we have included in this series of Open Science Cafés the presentation at the end about the research evaluation and the new mechanisms to make a responsible research evaluation, and that's the point, changing the whole thing. But I think he has the hand already. Would you like to do your question, Ahmed? I don't know if we have to convert you in a presenter.
So maybe I can answer a question about whether OpenAire is European. So we started as a European project because we have this mandate from the European Commission to help researchers receiving funding from the European Commission to implement open access mandate and then research data management requirement to provide open access to publications via repositories, write data management plans, try to make data as open as possible, as closed as necessary. So we started with Europe, and we supported European Commission, and we also collaborated with some European funders. But then we received expressions of interest from Australia, and we have Australian funders. We also have North American funders. We're talking with Canadian funders, and Canadians built their Canadian version of like a gateway, OpenAire gateway for Canadian research. And of course, we collaborate with La Referencia in Latin America. They are our big partners, and it's an aggregator of open access content from Latin America. We also have content from Japan. We collaborate with Korea. So we're mainly focused on Europe, but when other partners approach us, we're open to collaborations. And where to publish, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm a sociologist doing research and discourse analysis, and even that was some time ago. So even in this area, probably I won't be able to offer the right publication venue. But I guess you need to decide what you want to get out of this publication. And like for me, I decided that I will only publish in open access, because I want to make sure that what I publish is available to researchers in other countries, in the global south. I also decided that I won't be paying for publishing, because I work for non-governmental organization. I don't have access to funds, and article processing charges are really expensive for me to pay out of my pocket. And in my area, there are a lot of good open access journals, but I'm not making an academic career, so I don't need to make sacrifices. And I can imagine if someone is building an academic career, and if publications in certain journals would help to build that career quicker and easier, I fully understand that researchers' choice. But I'm like I was said, research funders and institutions are changing their approaches to research assessment and evaluation. And I do hope that at some point we will all agree that what matters is the quality of publication and not where it was published and the impact this publication makes. And if we want to advance open access, I think the fastest way is to change research assessment and evaluation exercises. And luckily, those funders who require open access, they also look in this area.
Yeah, actually, the other session, Kostas was mentioning exactly that the European Commission planned to have at the end of the year a memorandum of understanding between research performing organizations, funders, and other stakeholders to change the way we evaluate and we measure science. So I think it will be a step forward, having a commitment with the member states and stakeholders to do research evaluation in another way, because at the end is the bottleneck all the time. But we have another very interesting question of Christos, our colleague from Cyprus University in UFE. Go ahead, Christos. I think you have already activated the microphone.
Yes, thank you, Eva. Thank you for the second question. Right, so one of the things that we need to do, I'm not sure if everybody in the workshop is familiar with the process, is to collect all the publications that are related to an EU-funded project as part of the reporting process, right? Now, this is happening through the participant portal, and the idea is that the publications will be automatically, let's say, harvested through OpenAire. However, according to our experience in the previous years, I mean, this linking, like through an API is not so smooth. I mean, there is a lot of manual work that needs to be done. I mean, for each project to, let's say, manually, let's say, add the publications on the participant portal. So I was wondering if Iryna had any insights or maybe any updates on improving this situation. Thank you.
So I know that there were some glitches in the way we exchange data with participant portal, and those glitches were fixed. So I think now the information that OpenAire provides to the participant portal is more refined. But the way it works, we suggest publications that we consider relevant to your project, and then you as project coordinator will have to confirm or remove publication in case we made a mistake. And maybe if you have specific examples, like if there is a specific project where we really miss a lot of publications, then maybe we can figure out what the issue is. And I'll put a link. I'll put my email in a chat, and if you could drop me an email, I'll try to investigate. But I hope now it's a bit better. Also, sometimes it takes time because Zenodo we harvest every day, but if you upload your publication to your institutional repository, then it takes some time until it appears on OpenAire, and then it appears on participant portal. And we've seen examples where researchers were uploading all the publications before the day before the review, and of course one day unfortunately is not enough for us to synchronize data with the participants portal.
But actually, I think what you have in the participant portal, you don't have to upload the paper in the participant portal, but register the publications attached to the project, and then you have to put green or gold or whatever it is. So it's not necessary, and also OpenAire cannot get in the participant portal as such as if it was an OAI, which is the protocol that is based on the harvesting PMH protocol. It's not based on that. So this is an internal tool for the Commission to control. As soon as you have published your paper, you have to refer that in the participant portal. We are mixing up the availability tools with the administrative controlling tools. But I think it could be in the future a good idea to do that too.
Yeah, that's what we're already doing, because the European Commission asked us to provide our data to them. So it's already in participant portal, but it's like Christos is saying, it's not accurate for all the projects.
Okay. Well, more things to explore and to improve the things to work together. Well, I think it has been a very interesting and a very practical session. Thank you very much, Iryna. I think all these people that they have been very active, they are mainly our early career researchers, but also we have in the audience some of our senior researchers. And I think we have to learn all together and also to use OpenAire, because at the end of the day, it's an amazing, powerful tool that not very many researchers know and in a daily basis. So also when you were talking about Argos, we are going to think about making a template for the Spanish Agency of Research that funds research, and make a template for Argos to be there for the data management plan and make life easier, you know, to the researchers. So it's what OpenAire does, making the life easier for the researchers. So
yeah, and if you have any ideas, like how we can make your life easier, please drop me an email, or if you have any other questions, please also drop me an email and I'll be happy to answer them. And thanks a million for inviting me. I enjoyed talking to you, and
sure.
I love your Open Science Cafe ideas. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, it's fantastic, because it's a way to put all the researchers in the same bucket and discuss with different levels, and then we enrich the whole thinking of the community, you know, the university community. So thank you for joining us, and I hope in the future we can have you in a physical way there. We will be very much in touch about the UNESCO work, and congratulations, and thank you very much again.
And thanks a lot for all your work ever in the open science area. You're one of my open science heroes. Thanks a lot.
Well, I keep going. I will let you know when we have our full-fledged open science policy in the university, Carlos III. We can be role models, and these people will be convinced that is the way to go. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. See you next Thursday in the next cafe and everything. Bye-bye.
Bye.